Yes, good morning. We will start the second part of the conversation with Sophia.
Of the mind. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, you
Good to see
hear me well?
you. Yeah.
Good.
Can you hear me well? Yeah, okay.
Perfect.
Okay. That's good. Good to see you. And good, my voice is back.
Yeah, no, today is amazing.
Yeah. So we last week we actually dedicated 1 hour to some like clarifications, and I would consider this as an introduction.
Yeah.
And like before we move on, could be nice to just have a quick overview what actually we clarified last time. Yeah. So, but again, as mentioned before, could be nice to stay in in frame of the topic that was announced because there is so much to say. But here we are to clarify certain things. Okay. So again, even we talk about the mental state and deal with that using yoga tools and using yoga teaching what we can find in specifically, let's say, in Yoga Sutras of Patanjali and some other scripts, use it as our guidance also, like one of the guidances, right, for understanding of the processes. First of all, just to remind us that yoga as the practice, as a system, was not specifically designed as a therapy. However, we can benefit a lot from the practices and from the teaching to manage our mental states, emotional states during our daily life. Yeah. So we take only this aspect mainly for our conversation, right? So this is not complete teaching on yoga, but we just have a casual talk on this aspect of the yoga practice. Okay. So
Yeah.
I specifically made a note, not to go too far in my
Yeah.
time.
I like to remind, for a quick view, that in the previous one we talked a little bit about what yoga means, and we stick to the definition that I like a lot about. It's a system of techniques, right? So talking about is a system of techniques, as you say before, we use it to manage difficulties in our minds, because everything is in our minds, actually. How we feel, how we see the things, for all the conditionings we have that we talk about that in the previous one. So now, how can we use yoga? Now we know what it means, how it works, that we have conscious mind, subconscious mind. So now how can we use that to control ourselves?
Okay. So since we talk about definition, last time I just made my own definition, but now I just, when you've been talking, I decided, okay, let's go, because the answer is also there. Let's see the classic definition of within Yoga Sutra straight away in chapter 1, Sutra 2. As everybody knows, this is Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, or yoga is stopping fluctuations of the mind. However, the term chitta, which is used here, defines the mind, right? Term chitta embraces conscious mind and subconscious mind, yeah?
Yeah.
And unconscious mind as well. So it's not only thinking capacity, it's actually the entire, let's say, field dimension or platform of the mind, deepest layers of the mind. So for the yoga practitioner, we need to clarify, like we should not have any let's say, unknown places or spots in the mind with the time, of course, with the practice, with the effort, and throughout some techniques, right? So, and so here, Chitta embraces also subconscious mind. Yeah. So subconscious mind, again, just remind us, this is the huge platform with internal processes within, like the container of conditionings, and these internal processes affect our conscious mind in the waking state, the way we think, the way we feel, right? Like infinite storehouse, this container, subconscious mind conditioning, right? So consciously, we might not know what exactly, why we feel like that, why we take decisions like that and stuff, but there's always an answer within, right? So again, coming back to the question, like through the yoga techniques, we can be first to deal with that, to deal with the mental states, we need to first, let's say, see them, bring them to the surface, know them, acknowledge them. Because if we keep, like, let's say, denying them, then we cannot deal with that. We cannot change it. We cannot manage that, right?
We have to face it and don't run away from it.
Yeah, exactly. I will give you straight away example anyone can relate to, because this is the mechanisms of the mind we actually developed from childhood. Yeah, so we still use them now. Yeah, but for the yoga practitioner, let's say we try to observe them and change the things. Okay, let's see. Let's see if I feel so much, or person feels so much frustration, let's say, or anger. Let's say something unpleasant, something that we don't really like to feel. Yeah. So most of us, we don't like, since we don't like this experience. So who wants to feel that? Of course not. We don't want that. So we try to avoid that. How? Normally through destruction of ourselves first. Like, okay, I feel so bad, I'm going to watch the movie and forget about it. Or go out with your friends, have a drink, you name it. Yeah, or eat a cake, anything, yeah? So then I'm going to feel better. Or I don't want to acknowledge that, and I try to look for the good things, let's say, so-called good things in so-called bad things. What I mean, I feel so bad, but probably it's good for me that the situation has happened. And you try to look for good things without acknowledging, yeah, this is quite actually not good. Yeah. Okay. So I had really big fight with my boss at work, and I'm fired. Let's say I have all these emotions. I'm trying to look for the good things. Yeah, but I'm not going to have my stable job anymore. Let's say this way. Yeah, and I'm not going to have my stable income, and maybe whatever. You know, let's say this is. Yeah, but I try to find good things. Okay, but maybe it's good for me. Maybe I should do something different. So I don't want to acknowledge negative aspects, and this is mental escape. I don't want to deal with that. Yeah.
Yes. So that extreme positivity of everything. Yeah.
So yoga teaches us to face. Yeah. So be mature and face any situation. Like face. I mean, like to see it straight and experience that through. If it comes to internal movements, right? To experience that, you know, it doesn't mean to completely lose yourself in different type of mental turbulences, emotional turbulences, but to acknowledge them, observe them, embrace them, experience them, right? And then they will be like worked out. So this is something uncomfortable in the beginning, but in fact, this is a huge gift to humanity, because it's a way out that I'm going to talk about it today also a little bit, referring to Yoga Sutras as well. So again, coming back to the beginning, so yoga is stopping fluctuations of the mind, not the mind, fluctuations of the mind. So, so we're not going to stop the mind, we're going to like minimize, let's say, conscious mind activity, and purify conditioning fields within subconscious mind. So I refer to the term chitta and to the classic definition of yoga. Yeah. So I hope I try to keep it kind of simple and clear, that everyone can relate to that. You know? This is a very uncomfortable idea, but it works very, very well. So you have to face what you don't want to face. Like all our life, we avoid this stuff. Maybe now is the time, maybe slowly start to deal with that, you know? Okay. Yeah, so my first point was to acknowledge that I have these emotions, I have these thoughts, intentions. Sometimes I want to harm someone in my mind, let's say, yeah, I want to throw the chair to someone when I feel so many emotions, but I repress it because the yoga teacher is not allowed or not supposed to have
This
emotions
attitude.
like that, you know?
Yeah.
Yoga teacher is not a human being, and then, okay. So another aspect which I really raise is I find like in the beginning I say most essential for everyone, either yoga practitioner or not. Yeah. So we know that human being physically and mentally is programmed for the well-being. Yeah, we have a mechanisms of self-regulations. So if we're sick, we can get well. Yeah. If the mind is experiencing, let's say, a lot of stress, it can get back to normal also. If right conditions are created. For the body, right conditions would be, like we know, depending on the issue, what would be right conditions. For the mind,
and when we feel bad, we feel it in our body too.
Yeah. This is something also to mention in the next treatment. So for the mind, this is to give it some rest, conscious mind, this mental active thinking capacity, let's say, different emotional turbulences, right? So what to do with that? Like, actually, no need to do anything. Why? I will give you an example. No, something I will tell now. So, like chitta vrittis, as I said, or fluctuations of the mind has a circular pattern on, let's say, like symbolically on the water. If you try to flood the water with your hand, you're going to create more patterns.
Yeah, more fluctuations.
So leave it alone. It will become flat again. You know, the water. It's like if you throw something in the water, there's a patterns. So leave it. It will come back to normal.
Then time to time.
Yeah. So I don't talk about mental illness. I talk about right now, like all human beings experience emotional mental turbulences, right? So yoga offers great tools that everyone can benefit, either yoga practitioners or not. Switch to the senses time to time during the day or during overwhelming processes in the mind and emotional states, right? What I mean, let's say I have right now anxiety, like, which is overwhelming, and whatever I do is just falling apart in my hands because of so much anxiety, and I cannot stop it. Yeah. So what to do? Yeah. As I said before, the mind in a state of anxiety, no need to look for external cause, no need to try to pacify it forcefully. I have to calm down, let's sit and meditate, calm down. So no, switch to the senses. What I mean, feel your body, feel your legs, you just do your stuff, yeah? Feel your legs, okay, let's say. Feel your body, feel your skin, listen to the sounds, look all the objects in the room slowly, yeah? Senses, what is that senses? Audio, so hearing capacity, visual, let's say what you can see, right? Kinesthetic, the sensations of the body. You can, like, if you can see, hear, and feel the sensations in your skin, you can use them just to switch from the mental activity and being so tensed to the senses, so the mind will have some rest, reboot, yeah? And so the change will be significant. So to do this stuff during the day, time to time, change the quality of life. This is what yoga can offer, because in yoga practices we use this a lot. So we use not going into the practices, but as I said, just like not on the mat or the ring, but during your daily activities, it can be done as well, right? So this is another idea that we clarified last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why it will take 1 hour. Okay.
It looks simple, but it works, because we are here and we have like something blinding us. And when you just, okay, where am I? What I'm doing? I'm reading and sitting. What I have around, and that helps you to be present. And it's simple, but it works.
Yeah, so same you can find also in some psychological tricks when people have panic attacks. Again, I don't have a degree in psychology, so I'm not going to talk from the position of psychologist, right? But just these techniques are used. If the person has a panic attack, seems to acknowledge the objects in the room and feel the body parts, yeah. But I don't think sometimes people cannot feel body parts because the tension is so huge, and we just normally don't have a skill to feel the body parts. But we can feel at least something, so something to start with, yeah. So we can feel, yeah. So it's also like good to explore. Okay, I cannot feel I cannot really feel or see, visualize my leg, right? So something is there. Maybe something I need to work on, you know, something that drags my attention to that. So yeah, this is the thing I find like essential for everyone. You know, it's so important. Specifically in the modern world, we have so much stress. And the third one is working with the body. Yeah, using either yoga techniques or non-yoga techniques, which also could be great if it suits you. So what I mean, like in our tradition that we practice, we use Ashtanga asana practice, sometimes called Ashtanga Vinyasa, means asana practice, right? Mm-hmm. Which in the core concept of that, since the body contains and holds a lot of internal tension and stress repressed from the mind towards the body, working with the body in a specific way, maybe with the breath control, with some gazing points, let's say, depending on the session, right? So we can release a lot of internal tensions from using that techniques. And also, again, during that, we shift our mental focus to the practice. Maybe not for the entire session, but maybe during some time in the beginning. But this one requires discipline, yeah, as I said before. So that something might be, so yeah, yoga is generally about discipline. So we talk about yoga, this is quite normal for the yoga practitioners to be disciplined. But as I said, that sometimes may be difficult to discipline. We do it when we can. So that's why the previous statement I've done about switching to representational systems can be used by 100% of population who can actually hear, see, and feel. Yeah, if it's not damage in the body. Yeah, but discipline on the mat. this is normally about yoga practitioners. So most important ideas, what I find from the previous stream, even clarified more, right? But this is something I try to frame for the topic, without talking about high ideas, goals of yoga, and other stuff, which is also the we don't talk about it that much, okay? And more to say, but maybe you would add something, or you want to ask something, or I can tell more.
Yeah. No, I was thinking just right now when you talk about to bring the senses to our bodies, and then it reminds me, you know, these people that have a lot of anxiety, of depression, of something bad experience, and people used to cut, you know, people that have this problem, they cut themselves to run away from the internal pain and come to the body, to that sensation. So when we talk about this, it reminds me that, and for me was like, oh, okay, so now this have a little bit of sense, right? Like I described this situation, this awful situation, with another pain, you know, that this is the bad thing about it. So if we look for that same escape, but no escape, no, it's a healthy, but in a healthy way. You're not cutting yourself to switch the pain, but you're switching the attention to the body, to the sensations, to give rest to the mind.
Yeah, but I meant like what I was saying specifically right now. So what you mentioned right now about this, since I don't have how to say degree in psychology, I didn't do research specifically on this.
It's just bring my mind because I know
I
person
don't
that have this.
how to say, provide this clarification that, but however, based on the first statement that I have done, like overviewing the previous stream, is that number one is important to acknowledge and face, not to avoid. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what you mentioned right now, for me, like the way you say, means avoiding, distracting yourself with something else, which is so real because the physical pain can be like really strong, and if you really bring your attention more to that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, so it means avoiding. What I was saying specifically, not avoiding, but facing that and live through that, which I'm going to clarify shortly, you know, shortly. So exactly how we do what we do. Yeah, so that's why I find here a bit different. So I was saying to provide the mind some rest through, in the moment, switching to the senses and coming back, you know. So it doesn't mean you completely deny the mental activity. And no, not
Yeah.
that. Just
It's
like,
not avoid, just take rest.
Yeah. So because like we are, most of us, specifically from the Western countries, we are very much living in the mind and getting overwhelmed with these tensions and thinking. Yeah, thinking. Even we don't want, but we don't know how to relax, you know, we just don't know. So this is just to balance a little bit our existence, you know, not living only in the mind, but also like live in the moment using the senses, you know, these practical tools, you know, that was the idea.
Yeah, and in other idea, opposite one, it just happened to me today, but it happened a lot of times. Someone come to the asana class and they have a long time without practicing, or they never practiced before. They have a lot of tension, you can see in the body, right?
Yeah.
And once they reach Shavasana or Sukhasana, and they are just lay down, and it just helps when I see the person super tense, you know, that even if they think they are relaxed, they are like this, and I just help them to release a little bit. This lady tell me, I want to cry. Yeah, and that happens sometimes. So we have so much tension in here, and we reflect this in the body, that when we finally, of course, through the whole class, we switch the attention from here to the body, to the senses, to the smells, to the feeling, all that. And when you finally relax, it's like, oh my God. And people wants to cry.
This is a good thing, you know. This is this is for you as a yoga teacher, this is like, let's say, sort of achievement that you can help people. We repress so much, and if you want to cry, even we don't know the reason, this is good. So maybe you offer them to cry, maybe not in the yoga room or around other people, but let them take their private space somewhere and just cry out, you know.
Yeah.
So it's also like a release of the tension. Yes, cry is good, you know. Repressing all the time might be not healthy.
Mm. Yeah.
So that is what I would like to also clarify today, that I have mentioned last time, but I find it super important because we have a tendency in yoga community, what I can see among yoga teachers and practitioners, and also just among people who don't practice yoga. This is, as I mentioned before, avoiding experiencing so-called negative states and trying to initiate and glorify positive mental states, because positive are pleasant and so-called negative are unpleasant. So at the same time, I'm going to refer to Yoga Sutra shortly, but at the same time, when we talk about fluctuations of the mind, right, this dimension of our existence, fluctuations of the mind, this is not only, let's say, the way you label it, positive. So it's both, all range of experiences, so-called positive, so-called negative, the way we label that. So if you try to deny so-called negative and glorify so-called positive, we cause a lot of imbalances, because for the human being, it's very normal. Like when we live in conditioned existence right now, you, me, and others, right? So of course we have this range of experiences, like likes and dislikes, yeah. So we refer to that, and so specifically in yoga community, I can see a lot when people talk about, specifically in social media, like to be a better version of myself, you know. So to be a better something. So which sounds for me like not really going deep within yourself and explore so-called so-called negative stuff. Why I say so-called? Because we label that as a negative, right? So because it's pleasant, yeah, so we call that. So, however, from the yoga perspective, any experience we meet within and outside also, we have initiated that and created conditions for that before, consciously or unconsciously. Not going into karmic teaching right now because it will take some time. So, however, what I experience right now, I initiated that from my past, you know, recent past, or maybe like very, let's say, old past. Still, I have initiated that, maybe unconsciously, right? So I'm not aware how have I done that. So something to clarify. However, fluctuations of the mind don't have, like, different mental emotional states, they don't have a permanent nature. This yoga helps us to keep in mind. So when I experience something, let's say so heavy, I keep in mind that this is not forever. First of all, it has a permanent nature. So it helps to prepare myself to embrace it. Second one, I would highlight that any experience I have, either I like it or I don't like it, I face it and experience that. I will give example. Let's say I'm scared. Yeah, I'm scared. Yeah. Without analyzing that, I immerse myself with this fear, yeah, or being scared, and I feel it and I face it. Yeah. So I live through that. Maybe it will take 1 minute, maybe it will take 1 hour, maybe it will take a few days, right? Depending on how severe it is. How do I immerse with that? I observe it. How do I feel? I feel so scared that my heart sinks. I feel so scared that I cannot think, or I cannot do anything, or let's say I'm getting frozen. All these aspects of being scared, you know, so you face it, how you feel exactly, right? Without identifying with that, like, oh, what I do. No, you observe it, you acknowledge how do you feel exactly in this moment. So this means conscious approach, yeah, for the yoga practitioner. So like whatever you can, whatever comes without analyzing, but through observation of that and immersion with that feeling. And you will see it will come to an end and it will fall apart. It will fall apart with the quality falling apart. So it doesn't mean you repress it deep within and at one point it actually comes back and becomes so overwhelming that you're completely like, I don't know, like lost, right? So you walk it through. Specifically, I prepared, you know, yoga sutras to mention that so the suffering which has become ripe like now, you know, get ready, cannot be set aside. So you cannot avoid that. If you already feel that, you cannot move it anywhere. It's there. You created condition before. You have to experience it now. Yeah. So you created conditions for that, and now you feel it. So it cannot be set aside. It must be finished with through experiencing that. Yeah. It must be finished through experiencing it. So this is not my assumptions. So we can see it in Yoga Sutras. But the future pain and misery can be avoided. So means that, so if you already have it, live through that. So, okay, maybe first time it will take a week of this unpleasant something. Maybe next time it will be an hour. Maybe next time it will be a minute. And maybe next time will be a second like an impulse and it will be just. So we're living through that because it's staying in conditioned existence, the mind going through different states. So, and accepting that, not identifying with that, not reacting like, let's say, spontaneously towards external environment and people. Yeah, okay, I'm angry, I'm taking a chair and throwing to someone. I don't mean that, experiencing that. I mean like observing the way you feel right now. Yeah, so this is the way out. This is the way out. What we can do, everyone can do, either yoga practitioners or not, living their daily life and just like paying attention what is actually happening within. So if you really want to deal with that, if you want really to, let's say, liberate ourselves, it takes time. It takes ages, maybe, you know, for someone, for some, maybe not. For me, it takes ages, you know, because I'm always very slow. So that's why, like, just need to be mentally prepared. It doesn't happen in one day. Yeah. So, like, really embracing all ranges of experiences internally and try to observe and embrace first. And normally our spontaneous reactions to, like, for the actions, you know, based on our internal turbulences are always out of internal trauma and conditionings. So we just keep doing things unconsciously based on internal conditionings that we accumulated before. So here what I mean that this also helps to improve quality of life because you are not reacting spontaneously and automatically when you feel something, right? You embrace it first, you live through that, you get the clarity of the mind, and then you can take decisions and act. So, and then you can change your entire life, you know, just using this tool, yeah? So, which yoga can offer. Same, I believe psychology can offer the same, but as I said, I'm not qualified to provide information at that point of view, right? So we refer to yoga practices. And when I hear that like specifically attending the courses on yoga philosophy, when I'm told by the teacher, if you want to be yogi, you are not supposed to be angry. And then, yeah, I understand, but what to do if I'm angry? So should I blame myself that I'm angry? What should I do then? What is the way out not to be angry, you know? So what is a practical tool? And this is something we really miss in yoga community. We don't get a proper guidance. We don't get a proper like explanations what to do, you know? So because normally these things are established through teacher-disciple relationships, which in the Western world we don't have. You know, we don't like to have a teacher. You know, we like to know everything ourselves. We have Google. You know, so
Yeah.
really need a live transmission. I mean, I talk for wider populations. Yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that was my actually what I find from my side. From my side, I find essential for everyone because I've been there before and I can relate to that, you know. So that's why I think this we need to clarify more about it, you know, in the social media.
And it's really complex. It's really complex because, you know, we can have interpretations of what we are saying or what we are reading. You have your own interpretations. And even when you are in that position of, okay, I'm feeling this way, I will observe it, you know, I will face it. Okay. Then sometimes you get confused. I will give a little example. Yeah. For example, I used to have fear to talk in public like we're doing right now. Or to sing. I used to sing in a band, and when we are with people, I was like so scared that I feel so bad. Even I feel it, I want to throw off, you know, so super scared. So that's a situation that you see, okay, I can observe why you feel that way. It's a really simple thing to do, to see. You just learn breath techniques or, you know, whatever. But with the time, what happened in my case is I run away from that situation. And I say to myself, I don't like to sing in public. I will not do it anymore because I feel so bad. That what's the meaning of that? If I don't feel good, I stop doing it. Yeah. So I run away from that situation, but then I have to face it in different situations that when you have to teach a class, okay? So what we're doing right now, and now I feel comfortable, I work through that in my life. Okay, so okay, good. But talking about relationships, for example, and that's a really good topic. When you feel really uncomfortable, when you feel really bad with a person, can be a couple, can be a boss, can be a really bad work environment, and you say, okay, you say to yourself, I will not run away from this situation. I will not escape, just change into another work. I will face it. I will see why I feel that way when I talk with my boss or when I'm in this toxic environment or whatever. And I will just breathe through it and just, let the things face it. But sometimes face it needs to, okay, change. Get away from there.
Sure. I look like I understand totally what you mean. I don't mean
no. I know
have to,
what you mean, but I want to clarify because sometimes people, we get confused sometimes about it.
Yeah, so I don't mean to put yourself in uncomfortable situations and stay there, However, for like if you reach unconditioned existence, we are actually fine everywhere. But it doesn't mean you have to keep, let's say, something really unhealthy, like either job or relationships. So you can always analyze that. That's actually the mind can help here a lot, specifically with work. What do I get? What do I lose? Yeah, let's say. So I can say, okay, I can accept this, but I cannot accept that, let's say. Yeah. So then you work on what you can accept, and what you cannot accept, you change, right? So I was talking about like how to deal with the mental state, but it doesn't mean you have to absorb and agree with anything which happens around. Yeah. So for that thing, this is like to really know yourself from within, right? Because sometimes our feelings and reactions, not sometimes actually, in most of the cases, they are conditioned by previous traumas, and when we like release these traumas, relationships become great, and things become very different. So we change internal conditionings within, and we start to enjoy. I have examples like that, like when you felt like really uncomfortable with the person, so really like difficult and heavy, and you just cannot stay around. You pass through some internal, let's say, processes where you literally like face a lot of things about yourself, and you become comfortable with this person. Did the person change? No. The person has been the same. Yeah. So I had the same before. So that's why normally we actually look within. This is the look within, discover yourself, release the tensions, let's say know yourself from within, and let's say bring in balance internal turbulences. The external environment is going to be more comfortable, not because the external environment has changed, because the way you see and feel about the things are going to change. Yeah. So that's why we always start with yourself, But it doesn't mean you should stay with the psycho boss, at work. So we have normally logic and mind to analyze this. Yeah. So we can always use it, for that cases. Yeah, but normally our external environment is a reflection of our internal. Like we create it consciously or unconsciously, in most of the cases unconsciously. And since we being infantiles, we don't want to accept responsibility for that. They say, life is happening to me. I have I didn't I didn't create this environment. It happens to me. So from the yoga perspective, no. Every small detail around comes from you as a creator, you know? So creating. So external factors and internal processes. So that's why normally to change something, we start from internal aspect. And then automatically external is going to be changed by ourselves, but it looks to change itself, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, it doesn't mean they have to accept everything. So we can consciously.
No, but when you observe yourself and you realize you create, you're the creator of being in that situation or for being in with that person or whatever. Maybe when you change it in yourself, yeah, maybe you get
It
away
sounds
if you
just
need to
like
get
words.
away or just change your reaction. Yeah, for sure.
It sounds just like words, but in fact, it's super efficient thing. It's just most of us we just don't know how, where to start, what to do. You know, everyone says, okay, you have to change the way you think, you have to change the way you feel. How? What I do? You know, like you don't know. So that's what I was clarifying recently. That's from where we can start. So this is bringing our mind within also, you know, to get to know yourself. And then, like recently, I think yesterday, Shalendra Sharma, the head of the yoga school, mentioned how to believe in yourself. Just get to know yourself, you know. So you know yourself more, you have more internal value and confidence, and you're not affected that much by what is happening outwards, you know. Because if you really you have a feeling of your internal value, of your internal stability, which we reach through yoga practices as well, right? We cannot be easily affected by whatever happens externally, and also our mind becomes more peaceful. But it's also like another bit something to say. So when I say believe in yourself, it doesn't mean believe in your stereotype thinking or beliefs. I mean, do not have doubts about your internal self is one thing, and question your, let's say, question your stereotypes is another thing. Because the way I think, my core beliefs, they were gained within time, and they can fall apart after some time. But based on my core beliefs, I can suffer a lot. Yeah. So just because I have my principles, my values and so on, but they were gained and they may, as I said, they may disappear after some time, you know, because they don't have a permanent nature. So what Bhagavad Gita says. So we should, let's say, develop disseminated wisdom also to see what is permanent, what is impermanent. Yeah, one of the impermanent things. This is our beliefs. Yeah, from early childhood, like you have, like for example, let's say you have small kids, they don't have that beliefs you have. You know? They're not born with them. You know, so and our beliefs can change through life. Even they can change frequently, or sometimes we keep the same belief, but when we die, no, we don't believe. You know, so
Yeah.
we're finished at some point. So I don't say we should not have beliefs, but question ourselves brings a lot of relief. You will see, yeah. So a lot of happiness, because it's also a dimension of conditioned existence that we can manage. Yeah, like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So managing and purifying different layers of our being from the yoga perspective is essential. Yeah. So one of them is also beliefs as a conscious mind field. Yeah. But conscious mind field is not separate from other dimensions of our being. It's also like linked to others. Okay. Yeah.
Everything is connected.
Yeah. So, and the beauty of that, everything is connected and everything is affected. Like we can change and manage our being from different perspectives. But again, only if we take it consciously. Like if you want to quality change. Yeah. Okay, let's summarize. Say like to keep ourselves in the frame of the topic. So main ideas were, first of all, to face whatever we experience like outcome of our internal processes, either conscious or unconscious, is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if I have that unpleasant situation, it's totally fine. If I have created that, I should not blame myself, you know? Yeah, so it's an important thing, because when we are really like following the ideas, I have to be like this, I have to be like that, we create a lot of tension, which preventing us from, again, from knowing ourselves better, you know, and feeling ourselves better. Yeah, so acknowledging, facing that was important, and giving the rest to the conscious mind through the senses, right? Doing the work with the body, which requires discipline. Any asana practice would be good, whatever suits. If you talk about yoga, right? Pranayamas could be also good at some degree. Yeah, so very beneficial for the body and mind, right? And also living through experiences, the way it's suggested also in Yoga Sutras, living through experiences, they're overcoming them. Yeah, so it doesn't require a great knowledge of yoga philosophy. It doesn't require advanced asana practice to do these things. You just literally integrate the small things into a daily life in the moment. Like you do things, you just do it, you know, like whatever I just mentioned. It's totally fine. Doing the dishes, like, feel the water on your hands, like, let's say, yeah, or feeling emotion, feel it, yeah, like that. So, and releasing expectations from yourself and others, that could be also helpful, but it's very difficult. So, but keeping in mind that projecting expectation on others, this is projecting my internal conditioning on others. Because normally the cause of suffering, normally they can, you know, either something wrong with me or with the world, too, or both. So nothing wrong with you, nothing wrong with the world, I would say like that. Everything is like, you experience that, it's totally fine. Let's deal with that, you know.
It is what it is.
Yeah, others also going through their journey of internal and external things. Let them have it, you know. But you should do this because you are like this, or like this is, I'm projecting my conditionings on you, causes me suffering because I'm frustrated, right? That you don't do the way I want you to do, right? I assume you have to do like that or behave like that certain way. Yeah, and you will never do this because you are a different person. It's a different story, you know. So, and you have all the rights to do whatever you like need to do. Yeah. So this is also, but this is a big topic again, you know, about that. I just mentioned that. So we can always notice about when we are too difficult on ourselves, expecting from ourselves a performance, and so we're difficult with others. So it's a lot of suffering and tension from that, you know. And this is difficult to work on, but possible. Still possible.
The expectations. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and maybe like try to observe what is the nature of these expectations. Why expect people to behave certain way? You know? And this is the good, also like good method of self-inquiry. Why do I think this person has to do like that? Or another question is that, does this person really have to do like that? Like literally? Does this person have to love me? He have to? No, he doesn't have to. Okay. You know, like for example, yeah, because it's everyone can do that.
Yeah.
No, doesn't have to, you know. So he's free, you know, either do this or that, you know. Like that. So this is also release a big tension, expectation from yourself, expectation from others. You know?
And for situations,
Yeah.
even, you know. Yeah, experience. We have expectations for everything, positive or negative, all the time.
Yeah, so and this is preventing us from experiencing the way things are and people. So I don't live the way it is. I expect it to be a certain way, and if it doesn't meet my expectation, I'm miserable. I make others miserable also because I'm miserable, and I bring a lot of tension to others, to myself, you know. Yeah, so this is again based on yoga teaching, my internal story and my internal conditionings. Even has a lot of similarities with others. That's why we brought it together. However, it's still like individually tailored, and it cannot be as a template used for others. Yeah. So because others have their own story and their own journey experiences, even like day to day, moment to moment, it might be also different within themselves and within myself. You know, my emotional field is changing all the time. Not because I'm emotionally unstable. Hey, actually, everyone is unstable. But this is the nature of this dimension to keep changing, you know? So, fluctuations of the mind. Yeah, so, really. Yeah. Yeah, we are coming to an end of our stream.
Yeah.
They're already so quickly. And if anything you would like to add or mention, please feel free or not. It was just nice to be here.
Yeah, really good. And I can write the books we mentioned. Someone wants to take a look in the post, and this will be stay. You can ask questions. It doesn't matter if it's today, tomorrow, in 1 year. We will stay here. And I will put all the streams in a YouTube channel, so you can all just watch it again, even with subtitles in Spanish if someone needs it. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It
Thank you
was
very much.
really interesting. It's a complex,
Yeah.
it's complex topics. So it's I know it's difficult.
Yeah. Okay. So again, thank you for the opportunity for me to be a speaker today. I like it. And yeah, see you soon. Yeah.
Okay.
Have a nice day then.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.